I
I don't think he does. He
no,
doesn't
no,
have it
I
in him.
just from the inflection of his voice, I don't think he's got it in him.
I've got a good one. I've got a good one. It's the Heath Ledger Joker. I can't do like
Oh,
I can't do Mark Hamill Joker, but I've got a
you can't
pretty good Heath
do
Ledger Joker.
what's your Jared Leto Joker?
That's just he didn't really do anything. Jared Leto just kind of existed as the Joker, so I don't really have to
Well,
change
yes,
my
but
list at all.
he spoke.
Well, why don't you give me a sample of Leto Joker so I can see what you think he sounds like?
All right, yeah, sure.
What the fuck was that?
Oh, please continue. Please continue.
I'm the Joker, and I'm the Joker, baby.
I don't think that's how Jared Leto did it. I really don't think he did it.
I'm the Joker, baby.
Okay, maybe you're onto something.
Yeah, see,
Maybe you're
listen,
onto something.
you were not watching Suicide Squad first one like I was. Okay, I was in the theater the day it came out.
You're right, man. I was too busy practicing my Heath Ledger impression.
Dude, I went to see that movie the day it came out. I went with my dad and a friend of mine, and I remember vividly. I walk out of that movie theater, and my friend goes, "That's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen." And then my dad
that rules. That rules.
And then my dad goes, "I thought Will Smith was pretty cool." And that's
He's not entirely wrong.
It's the entire conversation we had about the movie. We sat in the car, drove home, didn't say a word.
You know what my problem is, Batman? You know what my problem is? My father was a my father was an Elvis bowling ball.
my father was a fanatic.
My father was a fanatic. One day he comes home more fanatic than usual.
And he says to me, "Why so fanatic?"
Let's put a signature on that. You know what my problem is, Batman? You bring up the wrestler Moose and nobody bats an eye. But you bring up the fanatic Moose and suddenly the whole world loses its mind.
Speaking of losing your mind, welcome.
Okay.
Welcome all to the next episode. I believe this is episode 9 of the Scramble Bunkhouse Deathcast. Welcome to episode 9 of the Scramble Bunkhouse Deathcast.
I'm doing the Nick Gage hand thing. I'm not 100% on that, but I think you're right.
I believe so. Based on at least our episode title so far, this is episode 9.
Actually, it's episode 8. Wait.
Oh no, it's
episode. No, it's episode 9. We just have the wrong title on the YouTube video.
No, remember, because we skipped
hell yeah.
your episode, John, because it was
no. Listen, I'm looking at the chair right now. It goes 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 7.
Oh.
There's something wrong here.
Well,
hey,
this is going to be episode 9.
We're slowly building coordinates.
That's true.
We're slowly.
By the time we're done, we'll have a full coordinate.
Roman numerals as day by day. You know.
Someone's getting doxxed. We just don't know who yet.
Yeah.
This is the Professional Wrestling Mayan calendar.
It may have already happened in the Cowpoke, or not the Cowpoke episode, in the Hobo Hank episode.
So I say,
whoa,
when that dude, Ethan is like a year ahead of us.
No, because we were looking for local indies around me.
Oh, you're right. Well,
that might have happened.
Speaking of local indies.
Oh yeah.
Well, not speaking of local indies, speaking of getting doxxed, one man who is constantly doxxed because we all know where he lives, in the deepest pits of hell. This match is El Satanico versus Sangre Chicana from 1989.
Woo! This is a match that I don't believe me or Cake have ever seen before, if I remember correctly. I've not seen it.
I might have once upon a time, but I don't know if I don't remember any of it, so I might as well have just been like I've never seen it before.
Right.
And the reason I showed it to you
Good to see you again.
is because I have an agenda to push about one, both men in this match, and two, this match in general.
Right.
I believe that Sangre Chicana is a lock for my top 100 to like top 60 greatest wrestlers ever, depending on how I feel about his volume once I watch more of it. And
Right.
El
Wow,
Satanico is he's a top 15 wrestler
Oh,
of all time.
Jesus. All right.
wowzers! Oh goodness gracious!
Yes. To prepare for this episode, I went through his 1984. I went through his later stuff in the 2000s, like the Infierno del Ring match that a few people really love. And it is fantastic, all the things that we have of him. His breadth of character, just the amount of unbelievable work he has. Even, I don't think he's ever put on a performance that I haven't been like, oh wow, that's really, really good. He's like Tenryu in that aspect, or Shinya Hashimoto, and I really appreciate
you've done your homework here, Ethan. So I'm gonna put you on the hot seat here.
Yes.
What makes him in your brain a top 15 wrestler ever? I understand you just said like he's got can't miss performances, but what about the performances of El Satanico puts him on that pedestal to you?
Yes, what about him is can't miss is that he is he's one of those guys who can do not necessarily it all, but everything you need to do in lucha to be great, and he does it better than a lot of other people. He is the leader of Los Infernales, one of my favorite trios of all time, potentially the best, or one of the most iconic trios of all time, especially in lucha. It's him and a floating cast, but my favorite is him, MS Uno, and Pirata Morgan. They are just the most evil fuckers you could imagine. And then sometimes he gets to play babyface, and the crowd really, really loves him, which is shocking for a guy whose name literally translates to Satan. But he is.
But again, I must ask of you, what makes these reactions possible? Because it's easy to say, well, this guy rules because look at how he's doing, but like, what is he doing? Is what I'm asking. Like, what is he actually doing that's putting this idea in your brain?
He is we didn't get to see much of it in this match because that's not really what it was about. But he has some of the most unbelievable grappling you would expect from a guy of his bowling ball-esque shape. And he understands how to work around pretty much any and every opponent he's given. He, like a guy I love named Dick Togo, is a beautiful talent elevator. He can bring guys I don't know. I'm trying to think. There are a few guys who I really didn't like when I was watching CMLL. I did a tiny bit more CMLL watching, or some of the guys he was wrestling to see if I liked them or not, or if it was Satanico pulling the weight for the performances. And I literally can't remember the guy's name. That's how bad I didn't like him.
That's brutal.
And Satanico put on the best match I've ever seen him in, because I went back to look up what are some other famous matches he's had. Didn't see very many. And Satanico, he does his thing in singles, tags, and trios, but he's also, as you have seen from this match, a hell of a brawler. He can punch, he can kick, he's one of those guys where I'm like, oh yeah, this is exactly what a guy named El Satanico would do in this very moment. And everything he does just feels so snug, spiteful when it needs to, smooth and slick when it needs to. He feels like one of those guys who can adapt to any situation, and he can wrestle a match like this, and 5 years before it, wrestle a match like the one he had against Atlantis, that are so different, but they're equally as fantastic.
Right.
I cannot remember his name, but in 1984, oh no, it might have been wait, let me check this one more time because I don't want to be wrong. I think he had a match in 1984 versus Shiro Koshinaka. But I'm trying to find the guy, because he had a match with a pretty famous Japanese wrestler in 1984, and it was really, really good.
he had a few matches with Shiro Koshinaka whenever he was Samurai Shiro.
Oh,
He
yes.
specifically, he had a hair versus hair 2 out of 3 falls that is like about 18 minutes.
Oh, yes.
John, what do you think about the stance that Ethan's taking right now? What are your thoughts on El Satanico?
I'll be honest, I don't feel like I've seen enough El Satanico to be like, oh, I can say for certain where he's going to be on my list. Yeah.
Can you see
I've
the
seen.
though?
Oh, I can't because I've seen a handful of Satanico matches before we watch this. I've seen a few of the low scene finales versus Brazos tags because those are all like incredible. And I've also seen him. He had a match with I believe it was him versus Tarzan Boy in like 2002 CMLL 2001. Yeah, and that match. Well, he had a match with Tarzan Boy at some point in the early 2000s.
Yes.
And it's really fucking good. And I think that's really like one of the biggest things with Satanico is that I've seen him like spread across a long stretch of time. Like I saw him wrestle in 2000 against Tarzan Boy. I saw him wrestle in the 80s against the Brazos. I've seen this match now, which this is 84?
89.
89, okay. But I've seen Satanico wrestle like a lot of different times, and I'm pretty sure I've seen him wrestle on like the indies in the 2020s. I think I saw him in San Juan Patitlán, if I remember correctly. It was like a tag that I like might have had Wotan on it. It was like a big it was Wotan Fishman against Satanico Romano Garcia, and he was fucking crazy in that match too. I think like exactly everything that Ethan is saying about him like being able to adapt to any situation and like still be himself and still put in incredible work. But I think also with him, like he's been wrestling since 1977. He's active like in this year. Like he's wrestled at least one match every month in 2024 so far.
Okay, I have this beautiful guide to El Satanico put together by friend of the podcast Elliot, who a PWO blogger who put together like the complete El Satanico case.
Right.
And if you want some perspective on people who were born around the same time as El Satanico, who to see how ridiculous it is that he's still wrestling in 2024. He is 2 years older than Jumbo Saruda, 3 months older. 3 months older than Genichiro Tenryu. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, dude, he was born.
He's holy shit. He's 3 years older. Or Andre the Giant is 3 years older than Satanico.
Dude, him and Fujiwara were born within like 6 months of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stan Hansen is around the same age. Liz Mark, Jerry Lawler, Ric Flair, Ricky Choshu, Villano Tercero, Randy Savage, Buddy Rose, Ricky Steamboat, Hulk Hogan, Tatsumi Fujinami. Those are guys who were born within like the same 3 to 5 year period of him, and that's fucking insane, dude.
And he's like crazy. Dude, last year he wrestled 34 matches, which like you can see 34 and go, oh, that's not a ton. Like fucking El Satanico was born in the 40s. He was born in the 40s.
At least 2 a month.
Yeah. Fucking, it's insane that he's still working, and not only that he's still working and putting in really, really good performances, and he's been doing so for that like his entire career. So I think I do want to say I'm a somewhat of a low voter on the longevity argument for some wrestlers, because I think that when you get too wrapped up in the idea of this guy's been wrestling a long time, like that can kind of cloud your vision on making a fair judgment. Yes, that. Yeah, but the thing is with Satanico, with all the footage we do have and everything we have seen, he's consistently great every time. He's he doesn't really have a specific down period or like he absolutely has a peak, and I'm sure there is a down period that I just don't know because I'm not tuned into lucha like that. But
there's no tape of his down period, so
yeah, if there is a down period, we don't got footage of it, so it doesn't exist.
And I'll be the first to admit this. This is a known fact among anyone who has ever talked to me for a prolonged period of time. I'm not a big lucha guy. I've never been a big lucha guy. I'm probably never gonna be. I mean, I will admit I've turned around to it far more than I had been in the past. In the past, oh man, the things that I have said about lucha libre have not exactly been positive. And in recent times, I have learned the error of my ways, and that some lucha is in fact good, but I'm still a pretty firm believer that the general style is just not for me, which is still like a statement that I think could easily get me thrown into handcuffs, and then like rotten cabbage and tomatoes will get thrown at my head in the town square, and I will be asked to die.
Yeah.
But
rightfully so.
yeah, but like at least I'm just saying, this is
No, it's
like
understandable completely.
this is how I feel. I don't know. I've never been a big lucha guy. It's never been my particular style, and I've been trying to figure out why it is, and I don't know if I still have the right words for it. But all this to say, when I was going through the old lucha classics, like the things that you're kind of contractually obligated to see as a wrestling fan, like when I was going through all that stuff, I'll say it. I don't think MS Uno versus Chicana is that good. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that good at all. Actually,
Whoa.
I'm not a big I'm not a big El Hijo del Santo guy at all. In fact, I don't know what you just talking about.
Right.
And you do not want to know. You do not want to know what I gotta say about Negro Casas. But the point of all of this, the point of all of this, though, the reason I'm talking about this right now, is because, in spite of all of these little factoids, I think El Satanico fucking rules. I'm a huge El Satanico guy. I love him to death. I was always actively very excited when an El Satanico match was like coming down the pipeline. I would watch that shit so hard. His Atlantis match is like one of the best matches ever, and this match is no exception. I don't know what it is about this guy that does it for me, but he's just like he's such a ghoul, man. I was saying
Yeah.
when we were watching this match, he looks like the Hunchback of Notre Dame in many ways. He's just like he's so crunched over. He's got like no neck because he's so hunched and evil, and like he just looks like devilish, man. He looks like a guy who would be called El Satanico, and I don't know, something about him
He looks
really
like
does
a
it for
guy
me.
who was genetically predisposed to constantly be rubbing his hands together and going, eh.
Yeah, he's got a devious air about him. Like
Mhm.
I think the mention of the stance is really important because he's like the way he gets stanced up like every time he gets like kind of low to the ground a little bit. He kind of widens his area to like he can take all attacks and respond in kind. Like there's just something about the way he moves and the way he strikes and the way he wrestles that's so like vicious and calculated and just just generally pretty nasty.
Mhm.
Also,
Which is crazy
responding to
because
your point, Cake, about not being a big Lucha fan, I think, personally, I was not a big Lucha fan for a while. Like, it took me a few years of actively trying to find, like, the stuff that really interested me and building off from that point. And, like, stuff like this was where I found that, like, the Terry Wotan match, the
yeah, because
obviously
that's the thing is like I'm in love with like the junkyard scene. Like I love Demus,
yeah,
Wotan, Mr. Condor, Fishman Jr. Like that's my type of lucha wrestling. It's like when you actually get into like the Yaves and stuff and like the actual, not the actual lucha because that's not a real term, but like more sophisticated lucha, less brawly lucha.
when you add all the
I
bells and
can't.
whistles onto it.
hmm Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do like Blue Panther lucha. I'm sorry to say, it's just not my
Yeah.
thing.
No, I
And
get
I've
that.
figured out like
I think that's why I
it's
said,
been like a it's like a learning curve, at least for me, where I'm like I learn to accept and in some cases really enjoy the bullshit that comes with
dude.
watching.
I've learned to accept the wrestling as a crazy term to say. That's nuts.
I've learned to
I
accept
wasn't a
that
big,
there are
I
gonna be
wasn't a big
elements in
lucha
it that
guy
I just
either,
like
but like
straight
I
up
just
don't
kind of.
like.
It was like I got conditioned to it.
I just wasn't a big lucha guy until I realized that I could just like live with how bad it was, and then I suddenly liked it all of a sudden.
Yeah, listen, I will also say I'm not in love with a lot of contemporary lucha. I'm a big Yaves guy and I'm a big brawling guy. A lot of the junior shit just does not work for me.
Yeah.
There's like 5 different lucha talking heads on Twitter that I remember like a year or 2 ago. They were pushing this one tag, like it was like an 8-man tag with a bunch of young guys. And like, this is 5 stars. This is the future of lucha. I watched that match and felt like I was dying. I was like, if this is the future of wrestling, I'm terrified. It's like the worst shit I've ever seen. And I think that there's just a general like it's a type of style that you just like you either accept it and you fuck with it or you don't. And I think it's entirely fair if you don't. Even with the other stuff, with the Yave shit, if you don't fuck with it, like I honestly like kind of get it.
But to wrap it back around like discussion of the match though, that's a testament to it is that like this is a brawling match for sure, right? But it's not crazy sicko shit. It's not actually like Mr. Kondo or Wotan or anything like that. But I think El Satanico was definitely like a blueprint for that going forward in many ways. He was absolutely the building block for that type of vision. And Chicana like he was such a good foil for him in this match. He was exactly what he needed to be, which was a guy who was like had just the most deadly hands in all of human history on him for this one match. Like, oh my god.
I think that's the big thing with Chicana in this match is that, you know, Satanico is a guy really it's like call and response almost, where Satanico is the guy that's making all the calls and he's the one that's like doing everything to really push it. And it's Sangre Chicana's job to respond the way he should. And 99 times out of 100, the way he should respond is by throwing punches. And it turns out Sangre Chicana either really great at throwing worked punches or really committed to throwing shoot punches.
Yeah. I think it's the former because so many of these lucha guys are so good at these like hammer-fisted, beat the shit out of you punches. And it also comes with Sangre Chicana's world-class selling. And
yes,
to mention Chicana, we've been talking a lot about Satanico, but I think it's worthwhile to mention how unbelievably incredible Chicana's like punches are in this match. Not just his punches, but like his fired up, swinging for the fences punches in particular. Those are some of my favorite in all of wrestling.
I think with this match, and this is kind of more of a thing with a lot of lucha brawling, because I fucking love lucha brawls. That's pretty much one of the only things that gets me going in like current wrestling is like lucha brawling or lucha adjacent brawling. Like part of the reason why Demus Connolly is one of the best fucking matches of the decade is because it has Demus in it, and the brawling they're doing feels a lot more like something you'd see in like the Zona Junkyard than in like any fucking Fed in America. Like completely different type of brawling.
Demus is one of the matches of the year and why it felt like a Mexican death match.
Of course.
You know who his trainer was?
Demus?
Yeah.
Don't tell me it was Satanico.
It was El Satanico himself.
Yeah.
You'll love to see it. The pipeline exists. The pipeline really does exist.
I think beautiful. with a lot of these brawls, especially in this brawl, I noticed it, but with a lot of these brawls, whenever they're inside the ring doing it, there's a lot of tumbling. Like that's kind of the characteristic of it is guys will like get hit and they'll like fight and they will go all the way around the ring, flying into the ropes and flying into the corner, and they fall at like awkward fucky angles. And it's so like real. And there's so much movement and motion in it. And it's so engrossing compared to like any other wrestling because there's like there's so much force that people are being thrown around the ring just by punches. And it's fucking awesome. And it's so well done here because Satanico is like getting hit and like slipping under his own feet from how hard the hit got him, and like Sangre Chicana is bumping into the corner like a madman. Like it's incredible.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It is sweet as hell.
there's like not much that we can really say about the things that happened in this match because there aren't a lot of moves in this match.
Well, I
You
think there
can take
actually
that
is
as a
certainly something
positive.
to be said. There is something to be said about the moves that happened in this match because I feel like the fact that well, I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on how you want to read the match's progression. Since
Yeah,
there's definitely an elevated, like the match elevates in anger as it continues. That's for sure. It does not
Yeah.
start with crazy brawling punching. It eventually leads to crazy brawling punching, but it is worth noting that like the entire first fall is pretty tame. It's
yeah,
Comparatively so,
normal.
yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I'm not even
like there's.
comparatively so.
I
Even
mean,
just by like the standards of normal wrestling, it's a pretty tame first fall. So much
I
so
don't
that
know.
you were like, so much so that you were like, I think this is only a one fall match. And then when he tapped out, like none of us even noticed it until his hand was raised. We were like, oh, okay, I guess it's not a one fall match.
Yeah,
Again, I
yeah,
think it depends on how you want to read the match because I do think the elevation of the anger is justified, but also it's just kind of like the way the two falls that are actually completed end feel very unfitting for how the match progresses.
yeah. No, that was something I was going to bring up too. That the like I understand why they did it, and I understand the progression of it. And I understand that that's part of the just lucha libre, like tradition is 2 out of 3 falls. Um, but the way they went about those falls was very weird. Because I will say, I do think that they were going like harder than a lot of shit. Because they're like from the beginning, they were throwing some pretty crazy punches and bumping and shit. But that's honestly part of the reason why the finishes felt so weird. Because it was like fucking Chicana's bumping crazy, Satanico's bumping crazy. They're throwing punches. Satanico has these incredible, super fast punches to like the jaw, and then Chicana just puts in like a grounded abdominal stretch and wins. And then a little bit later, Satanico puts in like a cross like stump puller thing, and he wins. And it's so weird because it feels like there's so little fanfare and there's so little like it feels like it almost betrays the escalation that's going on because it's like this is building up, and then you have to pause for these holds that just but they're supposed to be like pivotal moments, but there's like a falling off of the pace there almost. Like I said, this isn't like it's just like to criticize the match, but it's just it's almost like bizarre.
A little bit, yeah. And again, the third fall, not to not to spoil it or anything, but the third fall just ends in a count out. They call the match off because they're too busy killing one another.
Yeah.
Which again, fair enough, but like the first two falls, they both end in holds, man. And it's not like I mean they do brawl on the outside for sure, and that really picks up in the third fall. But I don't know if like I have a trouble finding the inciting incident, if that makes sense. I have trouble finding the thing that really kicks this off beyond El Satanico just being an evil little guy. Although maybe that's just all you need. Maybe sometimes
I
all you really need is an evil little
yeah.
guy.
I think that
And
that's
all
kind of the point with that is that Satanico is just an evil little guy and Chicana is a fired up babyface. This is I don't think that, to a certain extent I understand the idea of like there needs to be something that like incites it to really get this going. But
Yeah,
I think it's
I don't
really
know.
just that
Yeah,
Satanico starts throwing harder punches and Sangre Chicana just kind of goes, "All right, brother, let's go."
yeah, yeah. Like thinking about it some more. Like, yeah, maybe you don't really need like maybe not like an inciting incident because again, this is just like Satanico. That's just who he is. So maybe it's like fair that there isn't really any one causes it. It just feels like it's a bit of a rocky road to get there at times.
Right.
And all the things that cause it, by the way, is that there is no one inciting incident because these two have been at each other's throats for at least 6 years up to this point. That's like as far back as the footage goes. The first El Satanico match we have is against Sangre Chicana. And they've been
Wow.
like beating the shit out of each other for like the better part of a decade for this point. And I do agree that the first two falls kind of end a little anticlimactically, even more so than they do sometimes in like other Lucha Libre classics, especially because it doesn't really fit with the pacing and the rest of the match, but it kind of works for me in like the sense that neither guy had to take a true fall because they're both trying to beat the shit out of each other and just wallop one another. And if either
What do you
guy
mean?
took
What
that
do you mean they
fall,
had
it
to
would
take
be
a?
them like it would kind of be them I don't know what I forget I don't know the word, but bending the knee
Okay,
to their opponent and
how
saying
is
you got
how is how is visibly tapping out not a true fall?
no, it is a true fall, but in the way that a
Yeah.
knockout is a true fall, I meant.
Right.
Like
There's like
pinning
a
your opponent.
there's a degree of like impact to it, you know? Like the submission loss is less impactful than a theoretical knockout. But no, yeah, it's a weird thing. There's a weird 50-50 thing in my own head with it where I'm like, okay, I understand why this is going on, and I don't really even have a full on like problem with it. But it just feels so weird in the context of the rest of the match.
It's a yeah. I don't know. It's like not. I mean, again, and this is also maybe just like kind of picking at loose ends, just because I don't know. It's hard to really discuss matches like this at on occasion, and sometimes you gotta pick what you got, you know.
Yeah,
But I also think it's a fair thing to ask. I think it's a very fair thing to ask.
yeah,
Um, I think it's fair to say or to raise this question, especially when it's still the rest of the match is pretty good. The rest
yeah.
of the match
I
still rules.
yeah, like Ethan told us beforehand what his thoughts of the match were in terms of like where it places in the whole world of wrestling. And I somewhat agree with him, and I'll let him actually say it whenever it gets back around to him. But like this is like a really great match, and I think that the peaks of this match are like incredible. Like everything that goes on the outside in the last fall of the match is so like horrifying almost. Because I at one point I was almost convinced they were like actually shooting on each other. Like whenever I think it was Chicana hit a double leg. Or no, it was Satanico hit a double leg because Chicana would not stop punching him in the face. And
Yeah.
he hit that double leg and pushed him into like the crowd. And I was like, oh holy shit, like they're fighting. Like this is no longer like wrestling. They're like it was like he just grabbed the legs and dumped him. And, you know, as far as I know, it was entirely a work. And it probably was entirely a work, but these guys were fighting in such a genuine way, in such a scary way. Um, and I do love this match, even with the weird feelings about the first two falls, and even with I think also part of the reason is that the first two falls really don't feel like they matter at all. Like they're a formality. They're not important. They didn't need to happen, but they did need to happen because of the format of the match. That's the only reason they did happen. That's at least how I felt about it. And yeah, just but the rest of the match is enough for me, you know?
Yeah, I think this is probably I don't know. It's one of my favorite lucha matches of all time. It is pretty comfortably my favorite Sangre Chicana match of all time. I'm not necessarily with Cake where I think the MS Uno match is bad, but I do think that it goes a little bit long and some of the selling portions are a little bit too extended for me to truly call it like the greatest lucha match that has ever happened. But like
Yeah.
still appreciate how great it is. But this match, it has pretty much all the things that I really loved about MS Uno versus Chicana, except for the like really identically clear face heel dynamic and some of MS Uno's more explosive stuff like the dive off the top rope. But it traffics in a lot of the same tropes and ideas.
Yeah.
And I think El Satanico, for putting this match on, just like for being able to do something like this and the Atlantis match and the rest of the stuff that he's done throughout his career, is one of those guys who can like truly do anything. And if we had more of his work from this year, 1989, I would not hesitate to call him one of the better wrestlers of the year. I can't say best wrestler of the year, because Tenryu and Flair had like two of the best years you could ever ask for in '89.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like up there. This would easily make my top 10, if not top 5 matches of the year.
Yeah.
And that is saying something for 89.
I do also want to pop in because both guys have commented on it. I feel like at this point I should also MS Uno versus Sangre Chicana. Basically what Ethan said. I have kind of the same issues. And I think it's worth comparing these two matches because I feel like there is a solid spiritual connection between the two matches, like, and how they like break down. I think this match was better off in terms of like the constant action, because my biggest gripe with MS Uno versus Sangre Chicana is that there's a lot of dead air in the selling. And then there's like the big moment where Chicana gets like the big comeback spot, like the crazy punches. And then it goes back to dead air, and it's like it's just kind of off-putting. I think the one thing that MS Uno versus Chicana has over this match is like the visuals, because it's fucking it's that match. Like that match is like known for the being fucking crazy looking, like visually stunning wrestling. But like, I fully agree that I think this match is better. I think this is a more concise version of a lot of the stuff that was going on in the match. Maybe not trying to do the dramatic heights that MS Uno versus Sangre Chicana was trying to reach, but instead focusing more on like the actual, like the violence of it. And I don't know, that's the type of shit that hits me a lot more. I'm a lot more of a violence guy than a drama guy. And I really fucking love Sangre Chicana just getting fed up and throwing a bunch of punches, like ham fist punches to like the neck and jaw of a leaning down Satanico who was trying to like cover up because he is getting mauled.
Yeah, there's that one part where he just like legitimately double legs him in the crowd too.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's a match that feels like dangerous, like really dangerous at a certain point, and I think that takes it above MS Uno versus Sangre Chicana for me. Again, this wasn't even meant to be like we're gonna compare these two. That wasn't the point of the episode, but it's worth bringing up because I feel like these are the two matches with Chicana that, at least in my like spheres, these are the two that get brought up when you talk about Sangre Chicana. It's like it's the MS Uno match and it's the Satanico match. So I think that looking at these two and looking at the differences, there's something there.
And also, I will also, since now that we're on this topic, an interesting point that I stand by very firmly, with a lot of old wrestling too, is I remember we were watching MS Uno and Chicana in a call.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was with Ethan and some other guys, and I was just commenting on like the very classic trope of good guy doesn't get anything whatsoever in the first fall and just gets owned, obliterated, humiliated in the first fall, and then comes back in the second fall, right?
Yeah.
And I remember Ethan, at least I think it was Ethan or someone Ethan adjacent, correctly bringing up that like that such trope was not something that would have existed without MS Uno and Chicana, or at least that was like the first match in which it really inherently happened and like entered like the concept of other wrestlers as like a thing that could happen, of a
Right.
guy just getting bodied for a fall. Um, but I've always really been like, and this is gonna sound crazy, but it's something that I've stand by for a while, is that like I don't think that any wrestling match should be put on a pedestal for having the fortune of happening first. Like I do not think that the idea of one guy getting bodied for a fall wouldn't have come along eventually. I just think that they happen to have been alive before other wrestlers were, and they happened to wrestle this before other wrestlers did. And I don't think inherently that you should add a value to an older match because of its influence, when I genuinely feel like with that, except for like a couple very notable instances, a lot of this stuff just came down to the fact that they happened to exist before these other guys existed, and they happened to be able to do it first because of that. And that's always been my big gripe with a match like that, because yeah, it has tons of influence and tons of power and this and that and the other, but like, dude, so what? This is a completely artistic thing, and as a personal purveyor of watching this one thing, whatever it influenced is great, but then all the stuff they influenced did it better, and then it's done. So I'm not gonna like credit them because they did it first. They did it way less good than the other guys did, and they shouldn't really get. I don't know. That's been my stance on it, and I think that a match like Satanico and Chicana does not have that pitfall because I would be hard pressed to find someone who was throwing with as much hate as Chicana was in this match. I think they set the bar, and not many people have been able to exceed it yet. So like that's the key difference in the two, at least in my brain.
Right. So you don't think we shouldn't celebrate Isaac Newton because someone would have figured out gravity eventually. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
No
Exactly.
cooking. No, I pretty much agree with that too. That's been
They shouldn't have arrested Oppenheimer, or they shouldn't have gotten mad at Oppenheimer. Someone
would have made the nuclear bomb.
Someone would have done it at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
At some point, somebody would have done it.
I agree though. I think whenever I started looking at like the GWE stuff and then never did it again because I was like, this is too complicated and all these people are old. The emphasis that I saw some people place on influence, I was always kind of put off by because I don't think that's something that you should judge someone for in terms of trying to figure out their individual worth as a competitor, and specifically wrestling. Like it's fascinating and it is important to bring up when you're talking about the people that they did influence, but talking about them on their own and looking at their own merits as a wrestler, you have to I feel like you almost have to separate that. You have to take them out of the context of everything that they had an effect on when they weren't actively trying to. And you need to look at what they were actively trying to do.
Yeah, like think about it think about it like this. Like imagine like if this has happened to you, I'm sure it's happened to everybody at some point, I'm sure. You are pursuing a creative outlet of some kind and you come up with like some super genius idea and you feel so good about yourself. And completely unrelated, you stumble across somebody who did that exact same thing first. You've never ever crossed paths with this person before. You've never even known that they existed before, but then you learn about them and you learn that they did the thing that you just thought of. Like that's kind of my point. Is that like there should only be so much real credit given to somebody for happening to have existed before you or existing before the other person who also thought of it. Because like you could just completely come up with this concept entirely on your own independently, but then someone's gonna be like, "Ah, I see that you watched MS Uno versus Sangre Chicana." It's like, nah, man, they just happened to do it first.
Yeah.
No, I agree. There are a lot of different ways that wrestling. Going off of that, there are a lot of I've seen this in tape happen before, where people will have like similar ideas and do them at the same time. And just because one happened a few months before the other, one of them is categorized as influencing the other when they're like across the world from each other, couldn't have known about it. And that's like something that seeps into everything. But I agree that I put out a tweet the other day saying that greatest wrestler ever and most influential wrestler ever are two entirely different conversations, because they are. And the one person who like greatest and most influential is kind of intertwined for me. Not necessarily that those cases are the same, but he's just so great at both that both cases have, like, I end up mentioning both cases when I talk about one or the other, is Terry Funk.
Yeah.
Big Terry. Yeah, you got a point there. It is kind of hard to argue with the Terry Funk score.
Hansen, Tenryu, Onita, like 3 other genuine top 5 contenders.
Yeah, no, I think that again, and I think that kind of ties into my point. Like, I would not be able to feel like I can justifiably say one of the main reasons Terry Funk is one of the best ever is because there's a bunch of wrestlers who are great that also like Terry Funk. Because that gets into the pitfall of like, because I don't want to comment on this a lot, and I know none of us are going to want to talk about it for a long time because God bless it, you guys are like normal. But the fucking Shawn Michaels discourse over the last week, there was one person that I saw specifically that was like breaking down, because somebody put out a list of like 100 wrestlers better than Shawn Michaels. It's a whole ordeal. somebody like responded to that, and one of the main reasons they gave for why Shawn Michaels is the best wrestler ever is that like Triple H and a bunch of other WWE guys and a bunch of other wrestlers were like, yeah, I think you mentioned Adam Cole's like, yeah, Shawn Michaels was like a major influence and was like a favorite. And it was like it was also some good wrestlers that he listed too that said this.
Oh wait, hold on. I have something to say about this, John, before you finish, but because this just popped into my head, and if I don't say it now, I'm gonna forget it.
Right.
I think one reason that so many people view Shawn Michaels as the greatest of all time, and I'm not kidding you, this is why I thought, like, 12-year-old me thought Shawn Michaels was the greatest wrestler ever, was because there was a Netflix video, or there was a special posted on Netflix of like a WWE DVD counting down the 50 greatest wrestlers of all time, and they put Shawn Michaels at number 1. And they had a bunch of
Undertaker was
other
number 2.
wrestlers.
I own that. Undertaker was number 2. I remember that DVD box set really well because they
John
have
Cena
a
was number 16.
they've
remember
not
that
more
one.
than that. They have like a 10-second interview clip of the Destroyer, and that's all he does for the whole DVD box set. They've got like multiple interviews with a ton of guys, and then the Destroyer just pops up for 15 seconds, and then he's gone for the rest of the special.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, I also might have that DVD.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
it was a staple. It was a staple.
Listen, let's keep it like 100% here. Like, of course, one of the main reasons that Shawn Michaels is considered the best of all time by a lot of people is because the Fed has told them he's the best of all time, and a lot of people just aren't doing these fucking dives because they got other things going on. So they just hear that and they go, okay.
Some other people don't have other things going on, but they just
like me. That is also true. The guy that I was talking about specifically was like, yeah, I've watched all this shit, and it's like I've watched all this Terry Funk, like when he wrestled at One Night Stand. Yeah, no, but I just think that's part of the pitfall of falling into the idea of influence. Is that you eventually hit a point where there are really good wrestlers hyping up a really shit wrestler for a variety of reasons. And then you have to consider, would it be like, oh, do we take their influence into account here? Or, do we fucking discard that and then look at their actual work? Of course, to Shawn Michaels, regardless, he sucks. But like, you got to be, you have to, there's a separation I feel like you need to do to like really look at it fairly.
And also, if you boil down influence to like its most basic things, you'll be drawn to like 3 different people. You'll be drawn to El Santo, like whatever Gotch was the earliest, and you'll be drawn to Ricky Dozon.
Yeah, you will be drawn to Luthez, brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
The GOAT Luthez, baby.
Yeah, actually, no. I think you're actually right because Ricky Dozon rules, El Santo rules, and Luthez rules. So maybe influence is actually really important in this discussion.
Maybe.
Maybe I am wrong, but I'm not going to admit it here.
I've never been wrong. I've only been slightly incorrect.
I've never been wrong. I've only been misinformed at the moment.
I've never been wrong. I've just been caught in the heat of the moment. I've known the facts all along. I just forgot them temporarily.
Your Honor, it slipped to my mind.
Your Honor, I've got my wits about me now.
Your Honor, I'm sorry it was opposite day.
Yeah. But El Satanico, man. What a Satan. What a Satan.
What a Satan, honestly, so true. What a freaking Satan that guy is.
I like that guy.
But you know what's crazy, actually, since we veered off the beaten path here, and I wanna harp back on the influence thing. Because I have not tapped into the Shawn Michaels discourse, and I'm not going to because I don't use the Bird app. I never use the Bird app unless I really need to, which is rarely ever. But anyway, the Shawn Michaels stuff and all that other stuff is like I feel like and this is a common thing. I don't think it's like evil for like, or maybe not evil, but I don't think it's like super dumb for like Fed people to only talk about Shawn or something like that. Because like John said, it's what people just get told over and over and over again that he's like the GOAT. And that also goes beyond just Fed stuff. Like Manami Toyota being the best women's wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
Slightly less slightly like not a super underground take, but definitely similar vein to that. Equally, King's Road being the single greatest period of wrestling that the world has ever seen is another one of those opinions. And it's like you could basically, no matter how far down the rabbit hole of wrestling you go, you're probably always going to run into this is the opinion that everybody has, and you're probably going to fall into at least one of those. A good example of which being when we did in the Egg, we just did the like top 100 matches of all time or whatever, and Akiyama Shibata was number 3 of all human history ever. And every single person in that call was astounded, even though we were all the ones voting on it. And I think that's a good example of what I mean, because in that one single bubble of community that is the Egg server, the Akiyama Shibata match developed its own cultural reverence within just that one small community, that by the time we got to this project, everybody just put it on there because already in their brains they were conditioned to be like, well, I gotta put Shibata Akiyama on here. We talk about it all
Yeah.
the time. And that's a good example of what I mean. It's big or small, no matter what the scale, there's probably one such thing like that where it's just like, well, this is the community I'm in, and this is now what I believe as a result of it. And when we got in that call, and that was revealed to be number 3, everybody was losing their fucking minds because they're like, really, number 3? But that's just a good example of what I mean. You could think this thing, and it'll exist. And so I don't know. I don't like beating up on like Sean Truthers and stuff like that. Taker Truthers, okay, that's a different story. But like
Yeah.
Sean Truthers or other stuff like that, like it'll exist no matter where you are, and it's just important to remember to look into it, I guess, you know. It's important to have your own thoughts and opinions because especially with wrestling, there's literally no other way to judge this. None of it is
Yeah.
real. This is the only way anyone could ever judge wrestling ever is by what they personally think.
I was gonna say,
So-
yeah, with wrestling, like that's it is, and I feel like I've said this multiple times throughout the podcast so far, but I hate saying it. It is a deeply artistic medium, and when you are trying to judge art, the only way you can really go about doing it is by judging the art itself. And in this case, the only way to really judge a wrestling match is you have to judge it yourself, and you can absolutely get sucked into, like you were talking about, into zeitgeist, you know, into the sphere of influence that you surround yourself with, and let that change your mind on things that maybe you wouldn't think otherwise. And I don't even think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think you were saying
That's not
that, but
inherently a
it's
bad thing at all.
No,
No,
'cause
I don't
that's-
think it's wrong.
that's-
I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's important to like. I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's important to know that it's always gonna be there. Like you cannot,
Yeah,
you
it's
cannot
important to
be
understand that
above.
it
You
exists.
can't be above a Shawn Michaels Fed head because in a way you are also a Shawn
Well, I
Michaels
can.
Fed head. It's more deep and it's more esoteric and you feel more special. But in reality, you're probably thinking this thing because everyone else is also thinking that thing in your group.
Well, listen,
I.e.
It's not really.
Shibata
The
Akiyama.
I
reason
mean,
that I like a lot
I
of the
was
matches
with
isn't
you until you said that
necessarily
I'm
just because I
Yeah.
like the people I
No.
associate with
Like
them.
that's not what I mean. But like, okay,
No.
to bring it back to the Shibata Akiyama thing. If you were in the call for that, we all were in the call for that. Not a soul alive thought it was going to be number 3, and yet it was the 3rd best match of all time. And
But
yet
that's also because we have, like,
everybody
memories
in that call was like,
associated,
"Really?"
we have like stuff and memories associated with it because it was a match that Armani showed to his grandma, and he was like taking pictures of it, showing everybody. He like recorded what his grandma said about it and shared it with everybody. He showed it to a girl he had over
Yeah.
at one point.
That's
That's
I
what I
will
mean,
also
though,
say
A week after he
I
showed it, not even a week after he showed it to his grandma. And that is like
Yeah.
one of, I think, the funniest things that little guy has ever done in his entire life. So I will never
See,
hold it against somebody for loving that match specifically for that. I almost
yeah,
put
and
it
that's
on
what I
the
mean.
list for that
That's
itself.
that's what I mean. That's
No,
what I
yes,
mean.
yes,
Is
I
that in
entirely
any group
agree.
that
Yes,
these
yes.
things exist.
and I think that
It's not
I will
it's not the
say that
entirety of you. It's just like I think there's always going to be at least one take like
Yeah.
that you're always going to
Yeah.
have.
I think with that match specifically, it does also come into a point that I think is worth talking about when you talk about the idea of like classic matches. Because this is something I noticed when we did that list. And I don't want to just turn this episode into looking at the list, but like one of the big things with that list was that there were a lot of quote unquote classics on it, on like
Mhm.
high places. But see, me and Ethan at the time, because we were the ones that were like handling the collection of the matches and sorting it, Ethan more than me, but like we were looking at it. It wasn't even that all of these matches are like number one. It's that a lot of these matches that were considered classics would like just barely make it in, being like the 11s to 20s. But a lot of people would list them, because I think that's one of the things with these matches that are considered classics, is that even if you aren't like saying it's the best match ever, you're like, okay, it's still great enough that I should put it in somewhere on the list higher up. And enough people do that it doesn't matter, because it, like, there's a bunch of matches that get number one, but because this one match was listed so many times, overall it's number one. I'm pretty sure that was the case with like number 4 or 5. I think it was like number 4 or 5 was the famous All Japan tag. And
that was number 6 because everybody had it at their number 6.
Yes, it was number 6 because everybody had it. Nobody had it in their top 5, but enough people had it in their top 10 that it ended up making it into the top 10 of the list, with like 30 people sending in ballots. That's part of the thing with these classics, is that they are so present in the culture, in the mind of this sphere of wrestling, that even when you are distancing yourself from it, you're like, a lot of you, it's still considered like great, and enough people do it that it gets to that level anyway. When you look at it as a whole.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Indeed.
And that is all to say that you should be a free thinker, and you should put Alabama Doink versus Heidenreich Golden Corral Classic as your number 1 greatest match ever.
You should. You actually should do that.
Yeah, that match is actually really sick, and you should you should watch that match every day.
I've never actually seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, all right. Fucking.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
He said he hasn't seen it.
I haven't.
Really? You haven't seen Heidenreich versus Doink in the Golden Corral Dome?
I'm writing that down, brother.
That's news. That's news to me.
I will say, at one point, I thought about this idea, because it was there's that podcast, I cannot remember the name of it, but it's the one with the, like, I think they're like all brothers, and they watch Paul Blart like once a year, and then they talk about it.
Yeah, Till Death Do Us Part.
Yeah, Till Death Do Us Part. That slightly inspired me that at one point for the blog, fucking Dragon Script, I was going to do a series where I was going to watch Alabama Doink versus Heidenreich, the Golden Girl Classic, one time every day for a full month, and
Dude.
I would write my thoughts and how they evolve or devolve over time until, of course, the month ends, and either I'm a changed man or I'm a broken man.
Oh, you forgot the third option, which is most likely dead man.
Yeah.
That's 30 to 31 viewings of Doink Heidenreich. That's crazy.
I was gonna specifically plan it for a month that had 30 days, so I could hit a good even number. Also, potentially in the back of my mind, keep February open in case I'm scared.
I mean, the power of like human will is really something else.
Yeah,
like,
but I don't got a lot of that. And this match might be I mean, listen, I love the match, but watching it, that's part of the reason why I didn't do it. I was like, I don't know if I can get myself to go through with it.
You know what? That reminded me of? There's always been an idea that I've had that I think would be really cool one day, is if we got like a museum. Because I was thinking, so the band The National, right?
Yeah.
They did a special, well, not a special, but they did like a performance of their song Sorrow, where they played that song over and over again for 7.5 hours straight. And they just did that in like a room, so people could just come in and leave as they went. And literally all they did was they just played that one song for like 7 full hours without stopping. And I always thought, what if somebody like built a wrestling ring in a museum, and they just had guys do chain until the museum closed? And they just got 2 wrestlers. They put them in there. As soon as the museum opens, they start working chain, and until the museum closes, they don't stop.
Dude, 147 internationals.
Dude, it would be so fucking cool, actually. that'd be like the best way to put like wrestling in an art museum. I think you just put them in like a little corner. You just let them go to town on the mat until the building closes.
No,
I'm just saying.
that's
If we're talking about,
actually sick as fuck. That's
if we're
awesome.
talking about like the ability of human will, right? I really think there's a lot that somebody can do if they're dedicating themselves to a cause, especially if it's an artistic cause, and especially if it's like an artistic cause that appeals to a vision. And
Yeah,
if you got two cookers in a museum for the duration of its opening, you just told them to work the mat. I think that they could get it done. I really do.
dude, we got to get Gentaro and Luthez in there and let them cook.
That's what I was
I
saying.
was about to ask you who you think you would put in there, because I
I
think
really,
I would put like young Yoshiaki Fujiwara and Yuki Ishikawa.
yeah. I mean, if I could just pick
They're guys
anyone in
dedicated
history,
enough to do that shit, you know?
if I could pick anyone in history, those are two
Yeah.
actually pretty solid picks. Like, I wouldn't want it to be like a situation where they would separate and they would like hit a strike or run an international, because I would want it to
Yeah,
be like
no.
an actual
They'd know what to
exercise,
do. They'd
like
know
an
what to do.
like an exercise in showing just how connected you could be in chain, or I guess like how intertwined you could be in wrestling as a whole, right? This is a museum after all. We got to show something. And
I
I think
mean,
if I had to pick two guys who just like, aside from like very temporal breakups where like things just kind of happen, like they fall into the ropes or whatever, like aside from just instances where they have to separate, and if I had to pick two guys who just kept going or as best that they could, honestly, Fujiwara and Ishikawa is a very, very fair pick.
yeah. I mean, listen, if that's the concept you're working with, we were talking about it earlier. You'd probably be best off with like a Jave guy, because that's kind of the whole
Yeah.
point. Like their whole thing is
Yeah.
that the wrestling theoretically without ever letting go of the opponent. So you fucking probably
Yeah.
like
Getting
Negro
Hechicero
Navarro in there, and Negro Navarro
Yeah, I
had
was
you said
thinking
get Negro
Navarro.
Navarro and young Yoshiaki Fujiwara in there, and just let them do it.
That's a genius pairing.
Yeah, just fucking let them
they just
have
never
at it for a
stop.
while. Dude, yeah, no, the lights turn out, but like they just keep going.
They
It
aren't
becomes
quitting.
like Night of the Museum.
The guard has to throw them out.
But the guard cannot get them to let go of each other because like Fujiwara's got like a Wakikatame on, and the guard's just like trying to have to push them outside.
He's like, I almost got him. He almost tapped.
Hey, brother, you're fucking up the submission.
Brother, he's gonna lose.
Ref break. Ref break. There's no ropes.
Oh no, there'd be ropes. There'd have to be ropes.
There would have to be ropes. I was thinking
We would need to confine these guys.
Yeah, but like, okay, so I gotta ask. You said put it in a corner. Would you mean like you're just putting a ring, like pushing it to a corner, or what my thing was that you would have two ropes, or like you'd have the three ropes, so like two sides of a ring that are sprouting out of the wall. So one corner is wall and the other corner is ring.
Yes, that's exactly the vision.
Oh my god, yeah, no, I see that. I fully see that.
And then you just put like a little art plaque by it. You give it whatever title you want, and then you just let it go down.
Put the art plaque.
Yeah.
Who would we label as the author? I guess them too.
Yeah, it would
the
be
author is
them.
actually the author is Cake.
Yeah. This is my concept. They are contractually obligated parts of the group. They're not. They're part of the art. They're not actually the artist. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They are the canvas. You are the painter.
Exactly. That's why Still Life with Apricots and Pears is actually going to be in the exhibit. That's why.
Oh, Jesus.
She's actually going to be in it. If anyone could do it.
If anyone could do it, that's certainly a thing to say.
But anyway, yeah. One day, once I get contracted the Freddie Prinze Jr. Fed that's coming out, and he gives
he'll let you do it.
Once he gives me $1 trillion, I'm putting it in a museum. I
mean, I'm sorry to say it, Cake. He will be the one that like helps you set it up, but he will require the Killer Cross as one of the people in the ring. So. Can you make that compromise?
You make that call. Well, okay. I'm not forcing you to make that compromise personally. John might, but I won't.
Well, no, I would be forcing you. I would be forcing you to do it, but Freddie Prinze Jr. would.
No. I would just take his money. He would give me my one Prince $1 million, and I would leave with it. and then I would do it independently of him. I would take his money
I
and then I
see.
would run away. I would pull a Buzz Sawyer on him, if you will.
Rug
hell
pulling
yeah,
Freddie
brother.
Prinze Jr. for your museum exhibit.
Yeah. And then I will do, and in fairness, on like fine text on the museum plaque, I will see as funded by Freddie Prinze Jr.
Contributions from Freddie
Yeah,
Prinze Jr.
contributions.
But
Freddie Prinze Jr.
I mean, hey, we're talking about exhibitions and showing off works of art, and we've had a week to craft
we
a
have.
work of art. And
Oh man.
I want to talk to you both about a very important thing, that being your cards that were made based on the prompt I gave last week, which, just to recap for the people who may need to be reminded, this was after we had watched the Shin FMW show where Tarzan Goto wrestled in every match, and I gave a question, a prompt to Ethan and Cake, and I told them, hey, I want you to pick 10 wrestlers, and I want you to create a card where one wrestler is in every match, and it follows a specific formula of singles, tag, 6-man, and then a gimmick match. And, using the wrestlers that you pick, craft a card. And I want to talk about this card with you two, and hear what your thoughts were, and give me a breakdown of your cards and stuff. And if you guys would like to, I can start off and begin this process.
By all means,
Right.
please do.
All right.
Can you
So
can you share with could you send in Soldiers Assemble the card order thing, please?
Yes, of course. I can send this in a second. But do you mean like the general card order, or like my specific card?
The general card order.
General card order. I gotcha. Let me
Just so I can put
find
it
it.
screen.
I've got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Oh yeah. It's
It's right above the Takata image, but I'll post it again.
So this is order, which I believe Ethan is going to add to the spreadsheet. The whiteboard. Add it to the whiteboard soon.
I'm gonna put it in post. I'm gonna put it in post.
Oh, that's actually a great idea, because I don't know where you'd put it on the board. But
the board's kind of crowded right now.
Board's kind of crowded right now with a lot
I'm
of.
putting Jeopardy music as we speak.
Well, my gauntlet, my great show is known as the Cody Rhodes Great American Challenge.
Oh man.
This is a show happening in San Juan Patislan. And it is a stacked card. So, the show will start with Cody Rhodes versus Demus.
Oh man.
I think this match would be, hard fought. They'd brawl around some. At some point, Cody would gig, because Demus would throw him into a ring post or something. So Cody would be bleeding. Cody gets in the ring. They fight, and eventually Demus gets the win. He takes out the Codester.
Wow, that's a tough start for the Codester.
Tough start for the Codester, indeed. But he's not done yet. He still has time to finish the story. So Demus beats him, but then out comes his hero, and the hero of the people of San Juan Patislan, El Hijo de Fishman. El Hijo de Fishman is here to team with the Codester going forward. Of course, their opponents are Los Infernales of Satanico and MS Uno.
Oh no.
And again, hard fought brawl, just fighting everywhere. Chairs are getting thrown. It's normal rules, but also it's San Juan Patislan, so the ref just kind of lets everything fly. They're fighting, they're doing everything. Cody's actually getting some good things in. He hits the crossroads on MS Uno, and MS Uno dies. He goes for the pin. 1-2. Satanico throws a chair from the outside of the ring into it, smashes it into his head. Cody gets hit, immediately pulls the blade out. Blade's a second time. He's double bleeding now. Fishman tries to fight him off, but it's to no avail. Satanico holds him outside. MS Uno punches him in the fucking face or something, and Cody Rhodes is defeated in his second match.
Wow.
So Cody is 0-2 right now. Both times he has been pinned.
I mean, that is tragic. Cody just can't catch a break.
But Cody has another knight in shining armor arriving, or specifically a knight in a pure jet black mask, as his third tag team partner will be Wotan.
Oh my god.
So it's Cody Rhodes, El Hijo de Fishman, and Wotan taking on La Porqueza Extrema of Pig Destructor, Pig Decapitator, and Pig Pool. Again, crazy brawling. The pigs are hitting suicide dives, but they're all hitting them onto Cody, and Cody's getting crushed on the cement floor. He is coming up, and he is trying to fight back, and he is punching them in the blubber, and they're bouncing around everywhere, and Wotan and Fishman are beating the shit out of them, and it's going crazy. And eventually, Pig Decapitator pulls out a knife and starts carving into Cody Rhodes' face, specifically going coast to coast across his forehead. He has now been gigged. He's been gigged a third time. 3 different gig flowing. 3 different gig marks.
God.
Cody is bleeding crazy, but Fishman and Wotan are fighting them off. Finally, Cody Rhodes hits a crossroads on one of the pigs, but as he hits it, Wotan bumps into Fishman. And Fishman turns around and is like, I forgot that we have a fucking problem, don't we? And Wotan's like, yeah. Cody Rhodes 1, 2. As the 2 count is said and the 3rd count is about to come down, Wotan falls on top of the pin because Fishman has tackled him into it. They are rolling around the ring fighting. They go outside. They're headbutting each other. It's going crazy. The pigs come in. All 3 of them hit body splashes on Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is pinned. He has lost the 3rd match.
Bro, you're giving him nothing.
Wotan.
You're giving him nothing.
Eventually, everyone comes out and grabs Wotan and drags him out of the ring. And Fishman is angry, but then he realizes what he's done. He's despondent. He's like, Cody, I'm so sorry. You're a hero, and I left you to dry because of my feud with Wotan. And Cody shoves him. He's like, you and me, one-on-one, barbed wire dog collar death match.
No fucking way.
So it's a dog collar, except it's got a thick strand of barbed wire instead of the rope. And also, all the ropes are wrapped in barbed wire.
Oh my god.
They're trapped in the ring, a barbed wire hell. El Hijo de Fishman versus Cody Rhodes. And they fight each other like there's no tomorrow. They're throwing punches. Cody is giving up on throwing the classic work punches he throws. He's just throwing straight punches to the face. Fishman's not holding back. He's chopping him so hard. Cody's got like a purple chest. Eventually, Fishman grabs Cody by the head and headbutts him, and Cody falls into the corner, and he goes to pull out a blade to do his 4th gig mark, but he's so weak that he can't hold the blade up.
Dude.
And Cody pulls himself up to his feet, and Fishman grabs him, and he picks him up in the fireman's carry position, and he hits the Fishman running into the corner fireman's carry thing, except the corner is covered in barbed wire, so he goes into the barbed wire. Cody comes crawling out. He's crawling. He's bleeding. He's crying. He needs to finish his story, but Fishman grabs the barbed wire dog collar rope and wraps it around Cody Rhodes' neck and chokes him. And Cody Rhodes passes out. Cody Rhodes loses in the main event of the Great American Challenge.
You're sick in the head.
But Cody Rhodes, bloody, he's got like a cut across his neck from the barbed wire. He's legit, like, at this point, he looks like the first Martian in human history, as he is a bright red.
The first Martian in human history?
The first Martian in human history. Cody Rhodes. He looks like a man from Mars. But he stands up. He gets a shitty microphone. And he says, this isn't over. My story is not complete yet. You will have to wait and see what I do at WrestleMania.
Oh my god.
And
I can only fear what this guy's gonna come up with at WrestleMania.
And that is the Great American Challenge.
Thank you, John.
Oh my goodness.
For introducing us to America, the wrestling card.
Yeah, the right way.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's in Mexico.
it's the same one Ponzi's one, yeah.
I mean, it is still a great American challenge. It's a great American. He's challenging him.
And it's the great. Listen, brother. There's a parentheses that I forgot to say. The Great North American Wrestling Challenge.
Exactly.
That is my card. And
wow, that's a lot to take in. Wow. I need to get some water. I need to quell my thirst after that, man. You left me dry and overwhelmed.
Listen, I am to please.
I don't know about you, Cake, but John just left me drenched with sweat about what I have to do next.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you added more to that, brother. I was getting a little worried. Okay, but yeah, no, listen. That was my baby, but you two have fucked up brains, and I fear for what you will say in response to what I've just laid out on the table.
You should. You really should.
Well, who would like to take it from here?
I'll let Cake get his water, and then I will let him go.
Of course, yeah. Oh, fuck you. That's crazy.
I just got the water. The water is mine now. I have it.
Oh, well, I hope you got your senses too, because yeah. Well, what you got going on?
Sorry, I had to drink the water real fast. It was really good water. Anyway.
Is it still the same man that it was before Cake?
What's up? Sorry, huh?
Is it still the same man that you were talking about?
No, it is not. It is not the Fiend. It is not the Fiend.
Oh.
I've reconsidered.
Wow.
I put more thought into it, and I got to thinking. I agree that there needs to be a general vision, much like Tarzan Goto had.
Yes.
A general concept, if you will, right? And the idea that I had is I wanted to take a lot of participants of professional wrestling, people who have been active participants of wrestling, but that's really all you can say about them because they didn't really do much in their time as professional wrestling participants. And I want to give them another chance. I want to give them one more shot to show that they know what they're doing and to show that they know what's up.
Right.
And so I figure the guy that I choose for this has to be somebody who can really test them and put them to the test and make sure that this last chance that they have been given is one where they can fully prove that they deserve to be here. And I figure there is no man who is more willing to do what needs to be done in a professional wrestling ring than my first initial pick, Super Dragon himself. So I'm going back to Super Dragon. I'm going back to Super Dragon, and I'm keeping him this time for real. And Super Dragon is now going to put it all on the line here, and he's going to take on a bunch of people with loads of potential, and he's going to see if he can drag this potential out of them by force. You know, he's going to still be a vicious, evil man. He's still going to be a cruel-hearted individual, but he's gonna try. You know, he's gonna try and see if he can get something out of these people. So that's the vision that I have for this card. Now,
wow,
all that accounted for, we're gonna have to get going here with the first initial match. Okay. So it's gonna start as a simple one-on-one, as we've already discussed. Super Dragon coming out first. His opponent, somebody, like I said, the main running theme here is going to be all people who have boatloads of potential, and we're just going to see if they can play it off. So the first opponent for Super Dragon is WCW legend Judy Bagwell.
Oh.
And that's going to be the first match on the card tonight. Super Dragon versus Judy Bagwell in an intergender match.
Oh.
Now, one may think that this could be a lopsided match for many reasons, but I put it to you. No, yeah, I mean, just a couple. But I put it to you that I think that if she puts her mind to it, she could pull off some miracles here. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. She gets decimated, she gets owned, she gets obliterated, she loses just in a humiliating fashion Buff Bagwell is in the crowd. He is crying, and he does throw up at least once because of what he has seen Judy Bagwell go through. It is not a pretty sight. But unfortunately, that's just the way that things go sometimes. And Judy Bagwell just couldn't get it done. Super Dragon ends his first match in triumphant fashion, 1-0 for the evening.
Oh, wow.
And Judy Bagwell, unfortunately, does not make it to the end of the night. She does pass away.
Oh my
And-
god!
Okay.
So we have to move on to the second match on the
Oh, we're
card.
doing this.
So anyway, he will not be held accountable. By the way, this is she signed the waiver. The family understood. Everybody knows. So Super Dragon is fine. Judy Bagwell is not.
Knew you.
But hey, she knew what she was signing up for. She wanted to prove her medal, and she just couldn't get it done. But the good news is there are two people that I think could potentially get it done. Two people who I think, if they had to get put to the test, knows what they got to do to pull it off. And they're actually brothers in arms in a way, because these two men actually share the same profession. These two men, that's true. They share the same profession. These are not just some nobodies. Okay,
Mhm.
the two men that I'm talking about here are talk show legends Jay Leno of WCW fame and and Jon Stewart of WWE fame. Two icons of the talk show scene who have made waves, in their career as professional wrestlers. And now, once again, they're stepping into the ring to see if they can get it done against Super Dragon himself.
Okay, and I have to ask,
Uh-huh.
who is Super Dragon's tag partner, if there is one?
Oh, well, he does. No, he does absolutely have a tag partner. And
He
see,
does.
here's the thing. No, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, because talk show hosts, I mean, don't get twisted. Jay Leno and Jon Stewart, they can hold their own in the ring. We've all seen it happen. We've seen their matches. We know what they're capable of. This is a fair fight, if there ever was one. But the rules do say tag team, and you know something. I don't think there's ever been a more bigger feud than talk show hosts and game show hosts.
Oh,
Which is why Super Dragon's a
No.
partner for this match is, of course, the indomitable Royal Rumble legend and a WWE Hall of Famer, Drew Carey.
No.
He's gonna step into play to represent the game show coalition against these talk show behemoths. Now, I cannot possibly even begin to tell you how this match is gonna go down. There are so many variables at play here. I mean, for all we know, Jay Leno has an iron chin. For all we know, Jon Stewart has, as the photo shows, the perfect chair shot that would make even Super Dragon wince in pain.
yes.
And Drew Carey, I mean, we saw how he tried to bribe off Kane. It didn't really work, but it would probably work against a guy like Jay Leno or Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anything is possible here. And again, does Super Dragon start the match? Does Super Dragon stay on the outside? There's a lot of variables here. And to tell you the truth, the plain fact of the matter is, Super Dragon and Drew Carey do go over. Super Dragon is going 2-0 here today. But it is not Super Dragon who gets the fall. It is Drew by God Carey.
Oh my god.
Drew Carey is going to pin Jon Stewart. How? I'm going to leave to your imagination. But just know it is clean. He does not use any weapon.
Okay.
Nor does he cheat. So just somehow, in your brain, imagine Drew Carey hitting whatever wrestling move you think he would to Jon Stewart, and that is how the match ends.
One winged
Okay,
angel.
so we just hit a double rotation moonsault in my brain.
Oh,
Okay, then I guess that's how it happened. I guess you're right.
wow.
Oh yeah.
I guess you must be right. Now, this being said, Drew Carey's proven his mettle, so Super Dragon, he's gonna keep him. He's not gonna get him out of here. Jon Stewart and Jay Leno,
like a Pokemon.
John
I'm not
Stewart,
gonna
Jay
put
Leno,
you in my
they're
box
gone.
right away.
They're out of here. They don't get to be around anymore. They're gone. In fact, any shows that they had have been canceled. Jay Leno's car thing, done. If John Stewart's doing anything these days, it's done. They're both out of
I
here.
thought you were gonna say Jay Leno's car bombed.
I mean, listen, after the precedent you set with Judy Bagwell, I had an expectation, and that expectation is being defied.
Hey, okay. He's being very kind because he was astounded that Drew Carey was able to do this for them. Okay, he thought that all these people were worthless, that they didn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch, if you will. But
Fuck you.
Drew Carey has proven that maybe there's something to these guys. So he's gonna let Jay Leno and Jon Stewart off with a warning, but just this once. However, if the trios match that is coming up next cannot get it done, perhaps we'll have a different conversation.
Wow. Okay.
Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to introduce their partner first, and then I'll introduce the trios. So
Ooh.
it is still Super Dragon and it's still Drew Carey. What happens is out of the crowd, a lone figure stands up out of the crowd and makes his way to the ring willingly. He's volunteering to do this. He's put his hand up in the air and he is volunteering to step in for this tag, for this 6-man tag. It is, of course, quite possibly the most famous of all of these guys. It's Snoop Dogg.
Oh.
Snoop Dogg, WWE icon, potential Hall of Famer. I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but multi-time WrestleMania appearance haver, Snoop Dogg, has arrived, and he is willing to go to bat for Team Super Dragon and Team Drew Carey, collectively known as hold on, I'm thinking right now. Drooper Care Gun. That's their collective name.
Drooper Care Gun.
Yeah, that's their collective tag name with Snoop Dogg. So he's there now. But here's the issue. Here's the big thing that nobody saw coming. With Snoop Dogg's appearance, he has awakened a primal force.
Oh no.
With Snoop Dogg being here, the rap game has been awakened.
No.
Oh no.
And their opponents.
Mabu.
Oh well, you would think so, right? But their opponents are all three. They're 3/4 of the AEW 4 pillars. It's Rick Ross, Action Bronson, and Bow Wow who are going up against these guys. AEW has invaded the produce, and let me tell you, these are some intimidating motherfuckers if ever I've seen them.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you what's going to happen here, but they're all gunning for Snoop Dogg. They don't even realize that Super Dragon's even there right now. They all got their eyes locked on Snoop Dogg because they got to prove that they're the top dog in the rap game, if you will.
Yeah.
Stands to reason Snoop Dogg and Bow Wow will start the match. These will be our starting opponents.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously they are going to work some chain for a bit. Until eventually, after Bow Wow does like the RVD split-legged pin thing that he does sometimes, Snoop Dogg is gonna tag out. Now, one could imagine, but here's what I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay, I'm just gonna let you know a little secret here.
Right.
Action Bronson is never getting tagged in. It's just gonna be Rick Ross and Bow Wow. Action Bronson is there essentially to act like he's gonna get tagged in, but he's not actually gonna do anything.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, he's just gonna be there. Meanwhile,
on the apron, eating souffle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. After Rick Ross tags Bow Wow back in, though, Bow Wow's going to become the face in peril. He's going to be Ricky Morton for the match. He's going to take all the heat. So you're just going to see a collection of Drew Carey, Snoop Dogg, and lest we forget, Super Dragon tagging in and out to beat up Bow Wow. Until finally, the match ends as only the match possibly can. Rick Ross comes in, House of Fire, lariat, back body drop, and then he picks up Super Dragon and tries to go for his patented finisher. I'm not even gonna say what it is because we all know what it is, but he tries to go for his patented Rick Ross finisher.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, does not work. Unfortunately, Super Dragon deadlifts Rick Ross up for a psycho driver, and gets the pin. The AEW Coalition have tragically lost the match. Super Dragon is 3-0 now. He somehow can't seem to lose. Now, as I said, he was willing to show mercy to the talk show hosts, but being disappointed yet again, well, we're not going to get into it right now. I don't know if I have the permission legally to discuss what takes place here.
Well,
All I could say is that we will never forget Action Bronson's sacrifice. And I'm sure Rick Ross and Bow Wow are very thankful every day. But anyway, it's on to the main event now. And it stands to reason that the main event is going to take place between the one man that Super Dragon has shown any ounce of respect at all. It's Super Dragon versus Drew Carey in the main event.
Of course.
Now, you have to imagine, what's the stipulation here, right?
Yeah.
What could the stipulation possibly be? And do you have any guesses as to what the stipulation is here?
I mean, honestly, no, I gotta be honest with you, Cake. I really don't know.
I do.
You can't think you can't. Really? What do you think it is,
think so.
Ethan?
I think
What do you
it's
think
like
it
a
is?
first blood match, but it's the first to like kill your opponent until they're dead.
The first to death match is crazy. Now, you're not that far from the truth, but here's what actually happens, okay? Drew Carey proposes a revolutionary new match to Super Dragon, something that the world has never seen before. As we all know, Drew Carey is a former host of Whose Line Is It Anyway? And also, even more notably, The Price is Right. So what he proposes is a Price is Right death match, where they will wrestle a normal match, but every minute they will have to guess the estimated price of a random weapon. And if they get it correctly, they will get the weapon, and then they will get to use the weapon on the other guy.
That's
So every so often, so they'll just be wrestling normally, and then the Price is Right theme music will blare as loud as possible through the speakers. And then either thumbtacks will show up, or a kendo stick, or a chair, or whatever, and they just have to say what they think the price is, and whoever is closer gets the weapon. And this will continue until, like you said, one of them is dead. So they will just keep playing this game until one of them has died. This is Drew Carey's suggestion. He wants this to happen.
I was gonna say
He has suggested this.
So that's a match that feels almost biased towards Drew Carey.
Well, he's recommended all of it, and as a result, he has been willing to say that the winner must be the one that's living. He's willing to give himself this advantage if it means that the Price is potentially dying. That's the power that Drew Carey is wielding here. And after an excruciating 6 minutes, the ending of the match sees holding an incredibly bloody kendo stick.
No.
It has impaled the heart of one Super Daniel.
No.
Drew Carey is the last man standing. He is the sole survivor of this night. And then you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe
Did
it.
you kill the audience?
No, even worse. Jon Stewart and Jay Leno run back out, and they hoist Drew Carey on their shoulders. It was a ruse the whole time. They started a faction. They're now a faction. These three men collectively are going to rule the Japanese independence scene for years to come.
Oh my god.
For years to
Dude, what the fuck are you saying? Drew Carey, you're booking Drew Carey versus Gentaro? You're booking Jay Leno versus Kenny Yano?
Dude, they've proven that they could do it. I don't know what to tell you.
Jesus Christ. Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask, what becomes of the Super Daniel as a legacy, as a mask?
Well, the Super Daniel mask. Drew Carey is not low enough to desecrate it. He's too honorable to do something like that. But he's also not really wanting it either. So, in the heat of the moment, one final game of The Price is Right happens in the stadium, and whoever guesses the approximate cost of the mask will keep it forever.
No,
And
Jon
that is
Stewart
what
should
happens.
turn it into an NFT.
Well, I don't know if he should do that, but there's some possibilities there. But anyway, one lone fan in the building that day walks away with Super Dragon's mask, and that lone fan will one day grow up to be El Hijo de Super Dragon, and maybe, just maybe, he will be the one to overthrow this coalition.
Wow. 20 years from now, old man Drew Carey gets
Still running the scene.
assassinated by El Hijo de Super. They use the same stipulation, but it ends within a minute because El Hijo de Super Dragon has perfected the 60-second kill method to avoid the Price is Right stipulation.
He spent years crafting this.
He trips him, hits 17 curb stomps in a row, and then smashes his skull against the mat until it cracks.
Oh no, not old Drew Carey.
Now we're doing a Price is Right on Drew. We're doing a Price is Right on Drew Carey's brain matter.
No, not old Drew Carey, dude. No. You can't blame Drew Carey. He's just a product of his environment. He was put in a situation where killing was all he could do.
His environment is the Price is Right.
He created.
He's a product of his environment. You can't let this happen. He grew up on white guys doing improv and old people guessing numbers. Of course he was going to be crazy.
I guess that answers the question of, is there a price on human life?
Priceless.
It's approximately 6 minutes for Drew Carey.
That's right. It's 6 minutes.
Well,
oh man.
Ethan, Mac Pillars, the floor is yours.
You gotta take this home.
I'll be completely honest. I kind of forgot about this until like a few moments ago. But you know what? I think in my brain I've put together a card that really for Dick Togo.
Oh, big dick.
All right, so we've all decided on a theme for our events, right?
Yeah.
And so my event isn't necessarily themed around the wrestler, but the event itself has a very specific theme.
Right.
It's taking place in one location that I will mention later. But Dick Togo does have the Class Destroyer. He doesn't have the Class Dozer yet. They haven't given him permissions to put the Bulldozer front on it. But yes, it is Lennon on one side, Che Guevara on the other side, and the Hammer and Sickle as the rims.
Cannot believe he actually got the Class Destroyer.
He drives up. This isn't a place where they usually hold wrestling, but they set up a ring. They have a lot of bleachers set up around the place. And at some point, lots and lots of fans start filing in. But these fans are all wearing the same uniform. Because Dick Togo, as an extension of his class warfare, he heavily believes in prison reform.
Right.
So this is the first ever wrestling show on Rikers Island. Rikers Pro.
Rikers Pro. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I see a vision.
Wishes.
I see a vision.
And this Rikers Pro consists only of wrestlers who have committed felonies, or wrestlers who have personally committed felonies against me.
Oh, okay. Oh my. Oh my.
Welcome to the court of Ethan.
Actually, there are only two of them. Well, it's not in the court of me, but it's in the court of moral decency. Not necessarily in the court of law.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
So the first matchup, this would actually be a fantastic match, and I'm assuming that it will be on paper, because we got to get the crowd riled up.
Right.
Of course,
it's going to be Dick Togo putting on a wonderful babyface underdog performance against Takeshi Morishima.
Oh, shit.
They flew him out from Japan.
That's gonna get the people going. That is
Yeah.
definitely gonna get the people going.
Morishima's gonna club the shit out of Togo. He's gonna Togo's gonna try to run off the apron and do a senton, and Morishima's gonna move. Togo's gonna land back first into the grass.
Oh,
Everybody's
wow.
gonna go, oh shit, because they've seen things like that happen before on the grass in this
course.
island.
Yeah.
And
Bikers is very
Morishima just beats the shit out of Togo for most of the match, but Togo gets one really good punch in, like 2/3 of the way through, starts taking some control, but Morishima just needs one like forearm club to get that control back. He hits a backdrop on Togo off the first rope just to be a little bit of a dick.
Wow.
No pun intended.
And he wins the first match against Takeshi Morishima.
Wow.
Crowd chants for Togo. Or no, he loses. Sorry, he loses the first match.
Oh.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, Morishima hit him with a backdrop and Dick Togo won.
He did.
That's just the power, man. That's the power of Dick Togo.
And up next, a man who was not sent to jail for any other reason than something truly funny. Dick Togo has decided to team himself with the only man he really could to get the crowd fully behind him.
Mm.
He did also choose him exclusively for his name. He has never seen 1 second of this man wrestle. He just knew he got arrested for an angle in CZW because somebody thought it was real, and they got the cops called on them.
Wait.
And that man would happen to be Dick Togo's tag team partner for the rest of this show. And the team, they're calling it the Whole Complete Package. Yes, they call it the Whole Complete Package.
Oh, brother.
It is Dick Togo and Balls Mahoney versus Nick Gage and Rob Van Dam.
Oh!
Holy cannoli, dude. Oh. Holy guacamole.
Holy guacamole.
Holy frijoles.
So Gage and Van Dam, they're on very specific contracts where they have to go through metal detectors before they enter the building. And they're both, Nick Gage is specifically checked for weapons, and Rob Van Dam is specifically checked for weed. When they get into the building, both guys reach into their unmentionables. And what does Rob Van Dam grab but a weapon? And what does Nick Gage grab but some weed?
Wow, they did the ultimate switcheroo.
They juked him out. They juked him out.
And then Nick Gage grabs the blunt. Rob Van Dam also Nick Gage grabs the blunt and the lighter. He uses it as smoke and blows it towards Balls Mahoney and Dick Togo as a weapon. They want to avoid it as much as possible. They play it like it's a grenade or something, or they're trying to escape the smoke as much as possible because, they don't want to be caught smelling like weed, or else the guards are going to get them.
Right, of course.
And the guards start.
The guards can't visibly see the weed right now, obviously.
No.
No.
The guards who are conspicuously their guard outfits are baggy and are conspicuously wearing the same outfits as the rest of the attendees of the show under that outfit.
Right.
Are moving in a little bit. They're saying, these guys smell like weed. Not the guys who are smoking it, though, because they're doing it behind his back.
Right, yeah, he would never be
Of course. But Gage and Van Dam start doing just some crazy shit. Rob Van Dam, he grabbed a switchblade, like a pocket knife, and he just starts stabbing away at Togo and Mahoney, but Balls Mahoney fights back. He fights him off. Togo gets Balls Mahoney to hit Rob Van Dam with the spine buster or the ball buster, and Togo hits a senton on Van Dam, but out of the corner of your eye, Nick Gage, because he's in front of his people, his homies, decides to do something he'll never do again and has never done since. As Dick Togo's covering Rob Van Dam, Nick Gage does a 450 splash off of the top rope onto Dick Togo, breaking up the pin.
Wow.
Wow.
Ultimately, a choke-breaker
that's just
5-star
impressive.
frog splash combination takes Balls Mahoney out, and Dick Togo is too distracted on the outside because the police or the prison guard is saying, "Hey, you smell like weed. You smell like weed." And sadly, they lose the match.
Oh, shucks.
Oh.
Oh, shucks, dude.
Togo is
You
distraught.
can't be
He's
serious.
very, very, very upset, clearly. But then a big,
Yeah.
jacked arm from the crowd makes its way onto Dick Togo's shoulder and says
Holy
in a
crap.
very heavy Australian accent, "Hey, you're all right. I might help you in this."
Okay, whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
And a bald man comes onto screen, roided to the gills. Nathan Jones is Dick Togo and Balls Mahoney's next tag team partner.
Nathan Jones. What the flip, dude? Could you remind the people of what Nathan Jones did?
Oh yes, he was wanted for armed robbery in Australia, and he went to prison for like 8 years for it.
Oh wow.
What a guy. What a
He was
guy.
like on Australia's Most Wanted for multiple years. He was called the Beast of Boggo Road. 0-1
That's
and
crazy.
WWE wrestler.
Yeah, of course.
Wrestled The Undertaker at WrestleMania, but more importantly, wrestled Shinya Hashimoto.
That's awesome.
The full complete package, Dick and Balls Mahoney team up with Nathan Jones to face off
Oh my
against
goodness.
the men calling themselves Redacted. Because the words they call themselves, I cannot say. The announcer sure screams them. All I'm going to say is one of those words is MAGA, and another one is who. This
Well, that doesn't
team
sound very good.
is made up of two men who, while have never been arrested, definitely should have been on charges of animal abuse, particularly the aquatic kind. Dom, I think you know where I'm headed.
Might.
Coming out to Leonard Skinner's Freebird, it is Brahmin K, Brahmin Shu, the Brahmin Brothers, and the Necro Butcher.
Wow.
Mamma mia.
And this just turns into a brawl all over the arena. Nobody is safe. And the audience starts fighting. They start getting in on the action. They start jumping people. But then they have to be pulled away. So this turns into a genuine chaotic brawl. All the prisoners are sent back inside. This was ultimately turned out into a failure of an event in terms of police reform. But the few people who were able to watch from their windows did truly enjoy the show.
Oh, they probably had a great
They were
time.
on their windows, so you could tell they were enjoying it.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure they had a blast.
And this
match I don't think the police officers had a blast, but I'm sure everyone else did.
Oh no, the guards came back afterwards and stayed to watch. They were the only
wow.
They were tapped in.
They were having a great time watching this.
The police reform show was actually for the people he was trying to reform.
Oh, that's true.
And so, by the end of this match, Dick Togo has gone to the top rope and hit a senton to the Necro Butcher, who was on the grass on the floor.
Oh my.
The Brahmin brothers have kicked Nathan Jones so hard in his head that he is bleeding from both of his ears and both of his nostrils.
Well, that's a bit aggressive.
They're just like headbutting him on either side of his head. Like they're both like torpedo headbutting him in the ear. Personally, like trying to do it. But during one of those, they torpedo headbutt. Nathan Jones moves his head out of the way. They headbutt each other like full speed.
Oh my.
No stopping.
Oh my.
Balls Mahoney does a double spine buster on the Brahmins. It looks like this may be Dick Togo's first win of the night. But then the Necro Butcher comes back to life and just starts beating the shit out of everybody. He doesn't, though, account for Dick Togo still being around. Togo hits a pedigree, a senton, and then he hits another senton. And Necro Butcher is down for the count. Dick Togo gets his first and only win of the night. Balls Mahoney goes up to Dick Togo after this win and says, "Hey, I was supposed to pin him. I was the one who was supposed to go over. Come on, Togo. Come on. Come on, Togo." And then Togo gets really annoyed at him, kicks him in the penis. Balls
Whoa.
Mahoney gets
No.
very frustrated by this. And they decide to have an impromptu match. Dick Togo,
As they should.
Dick Togo, he eschews all ideas of, normal wrestling. He decides, I'm very upset with you. I'm very upset at the situation. We're not getting to put on a good show for all these fine folks. So I'm going to take it out on you, Balls Mahoney. He goes up to one of the guards, grabs a nightstick, and just starts beating the shit out of Balls Mahoney.
Oh my
No.
goodness. Oh, that's just, oh my goodness.
And Dick Togo then grabs the mic and just starts ranting about police brutality, saying this is what the police do to the inmates. And then the inmates,
He maybe he's spitting. Maybe he's onto something.
He's spitting. He's spitting.
I think he's spitting, dude.
He is, but this is crazy. I'm going to demonstrate police brutality.
and then he just starts spouting crime statistics about how heavily policed areas are the areas with the most arrests, things like that.
Mhm.
And the prisoners start getting a little rowdy when they hear this. They start listening to what Dick Togo's saying, and they start taking it to heart. So at this point, Dick Togo has escalated what was a fun wrestling show into a full-blown, wide-scale prison riot.
Oh my goodness. Dick Togo, what's your problem, man?
What are you doing, Dick?
Dick
And Dick
Togo,
Togo
like
what a
this.
very
dick.
pleased with himself at this point because he's doing exactly what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to abolish prisons, and now he is abolishing the need for a prison because all of these people no longer need to be controlled in this environment. Well, some of them probably do. Do not need to be out on the streets if they've murdered a shit ton of people. But he'll deal with that when he deals with that.
Dick Togo will personally deal with the freaks.
When the time is
And-
right, Dick Togo will step in.
Yeah, he'll handle things. He'll handle things.
Relax, I'll handle it.
Hold on, cleaner. Dick Togo's got it.
If anybody could
There's
do it.
that show.
Wow.
Well, that's quite crazy. Did Balls
That's
Mahoney make
something.
it out alive?
Yeah, how's Balls doing?
He's not very happy. That wasn't supposed to happen at the end of the show. Oh, that match is still going on, by the way. The bell started, but it never ended. So they're
Oh, so it's
technically
just-
still wrestling.
It's just
So
an
Balls
infinite
Mahoney
match.
Yeah, Balls Mahoney is very upset. He has taken the referee for that match, who was an inmate himself, and he is going on an Indiana Jones style chase, trying to hunt down Dick Togo and get his win back.
Hey, good luck, man.
Eh, brother.
Best of luck.
That's the journey. That's the money and the miles.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect what Balls Mahoney's up to.
I respect Balls.
I do
Cut
too.
out.
I also
So
respect.
all I heard from you, John, was I respect Balls.
Yeah, my Durango.
Hey, that's all anybody's got to respect ever, man. That's
Yeah.
the bread and butter of life. That's all I gotta say.
The Balls, the bread and butter of life. That is one of the craziest fucking things you've ever said.
That's not true.
No,
That's so not true.
Okay, you're right, but that's even worse. That it's not true.
Look, man. Okay, look. I'm not. I'm just saying stuff that I think. Okay. I'm not. I'm no different from you or Ethan. We're all the same.
He's just saying what we're all thinking.
Yeah,
We're not different, you and me. My brain is just operating on its own wavelength. Okay.
I'm just not afraid of being silent.
That's all I gotta think about. You know what's crazy actually is like the other day, I was driving with a homie, and it was
Right.
snowy, and we were driving down like a hill, and we were just like chatting, and anyway, he was telling me that that I should like slow down because a curve was coming up, and a lot of like cars have trouble with the curve, and genuinely like my first immediate instinct, and I said this out loud to him too. I was like, oh, so they just like fall off and die, and then I like that was my whole sentence to him. He was like, no, that's not what happens, and I was like, oh, okay, and then we just kept driving because like I don't know, man. Like in my brain, I was like, that makes perfect sense. Like, oh well, why else would he be? Why else would he be telling me to be careful around this curve? You know, what else could happen to a car? If we're going, like, if we're driving down a cliff and he's telling me to be careful with a turn, I'm gonna assume that it's because a lot of people die. Okay, like I
Yeah.
don't know, man. That's how my brain works.
You're
That's how my mind
spitting.
operates.
You're spitting.
That's just how it goes, man. That's just how it goes. That's how it goes. I had a coworker who also like got on me for like whenever I talked and like whenever I said anything ever, he always was on my case about it.
Fucked
Bro
up.
would not. Bro wouldn't let me live, man. Like, gosh, let a
That's-
fella just talk.
That's fucked up.
Let a
him
fella
yap,
yap,
let him
dude.
yap.
Let a
him
fella
yap.
yap. God damn, dude, just let me yap, bro. That's all I want to
What-
do,
What's a little yapping ever done? Okay. Yeah,
bro.
it's never done anything.
Yapping has never hurt a fly.
Never.
Well, I think
Ever.
some yapping from some people has probably hurt quite a few flies. I could think of one person in particular whose yapping has probably hurt quite a few people.
And who would that specific person be, Ethan?
That specific person would be you, John. You
What?
have caused so many people brainworms. I
What?
now know who Sad Genius
Whoa.
is because of you.
What? Okay, well, that
Wow.
just means that you have improved as a person and you have educated yourself on the ways of the world.
You know what's crazy is I could
Ethan,
hear
not
you like.
killers.
What's crazy, Ethan, is I could just hear you actively just making that up as you were speaking. You're
Ethan,
like, oh, well,
not
that
killers.
person is. He was like, that person is, and you took like a full second. It's like, oh, well, this would be funny. And
Yeah,
you just gone.
where's this go from here?
Yeah,
I didn't want to say Hitler.
you had like no name in your brain.
No, he had a name. I knew what name he had. Yeah.